This time on Captain Chaos's Laboratory, we're going to be doing the Lemax table accent piece called Boys v. Girls, which is a tug of war. So, let's see what happens. It's just got a regular off-on switch. Nothing, no volume or anything like that. Plugged it in, and nothing. I don't even get the light. So, either my power supply has died, or probably has a bad motor. So we'll quickly check the power supply, because, you know, things do happen. Maybe it is the power supply. Probably helps if I do that. 5 volts. So we're good. I use this thing all the time, so I'm expecting one day it's going to fail. Alright. Let's take a look. On the bottom we got 4 screws. Magnetic screwdriver. Sometimes they're nice and other times they get annoying. There we go. So, and alright, so here's the innards. Got a small gearbox that runs this eccentric, which moves back and forth, which moves these pins back and forth. So you get the tug effect. It's not bound up as I rotate this. It is turning the gear in the eccentric. So I'm going to go with the motor. So the motor plug is right here. It's the third one from the left. It's also the only one that goes to the bottom. And I'm going to plug this back in. And we still have no light. Only thing I see on this circuit board that's right here is power for the light, power from the plug, power to the switch, and then power to the motor. Alright, so let's poke around in here with the meter. I was just examining to see if all the wires are intact or if there's a burn or a broken connection. It's always good to check. So, switch is on. Let me cock this at a slight angle so I can see it. And there's a broken wire. I found it. There's the light. Alright. So, It might just be a broken wire. As soon as I touched the contacts with the meter, the wire opened up. So, you know, it's really, really hard to see without putting pressure on it. But the hot wire, this red one right here, is supposed to be soldered. And you can see, it's not, it was touching, but it's not actually attached. And on these barrel points, the hot is the back one. So we're going to reconnect that and then plug the motor back in and test it. And this might be super fast, super simple. A couple of minutes and we're done. Right now I'm just adding some fresh solder to the pads. And so I don't burn myself, I'm going to hold this with the tweezers and there we go. All right, light works. Plug the motor back in. Like so. Hey, look, it spins. Beautiful. I'm gonna look at the gears real quick. I don't see any cracks. And now we need to try and line the pins up for these two characters. I think they're lined up. Okay, that side's lined up. The girl side's not. Now, before I do this, there's a oval notch on each side here and here. That is for these two pins here and here. I got the boys to line up, but the girls didn't. So, I'm going to do it again. I think I got it. Let's find out. I do. I don't know why it's all crunchy sounding though. I think it needs a little lubrication. So I don't know if this is a common problem with this piece or if this is just a one-off fluke, but normally I don't see the wires break off on the power ports. I see them break in the switches here or the rotary, but not at the port. That's odd. There we go. No more crunchy sounds. So, the problem with the crunchy sound was the girl's side still wasn't correctly lined up in that oval hole. So, that's nice. Alright, I'm going to put the screws in. And we're going to test it again, but I'm going to turn off the light so you can see this looks like it's in the dark since it has a spotlight on it. Very simplistic piece to take apart. Too bad they're all not like this. It is a plastic piece. I know there's all the hate and discontent about plastic, but you can see how easy it is to fix your table accent. Everything's accessible, and it's only 4 screws to take it apart. It uses the 300 CA motor, or the RF 300 CA, which is the faster of them. The gears are all accessible. The only gear you might have a problem with is the eccentric. If it breaks, you can make an eccentric. That's the one that converts the circular motion into lateral motion. So there that is. I'm going to go kill some lights and we'll be done. So, main light's off. Let's turn off the under bench light. Let's turn this back on. There we go. And it's kind of crunchy again. I'm going to spray some lubrication in there. Let's turn the light back on now. I don't think it shifted when I was doing the screws. Here it is up close. So, there it is. How to open up and access your Boys v Girls table accent. I'm going to call this table accent done. I am going to spray some, because it's plastic on plastic, I'm going to use the dry film. I've mentioned that a few times. I use the dry film from DuPont on plastic pieces that slide, and I use lithium grease or silicone grease on the gears. You got to be careful not to do too much because you get it in that little motor and burn it out. So there we go. Very short video on the Boy v Girls tug-of-war piece from Lemax. I have no idea when, but it's apparently an older one. And very simplistic to get into. Uses very basic parts that you can easily find, except for one, which is that eccentric. But if you saw my ghoulish gourd, it shows you how to make one. So anyhow, until the next piece, have a good one.